Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are the Rutgers Alumni Association, and we're working with the School of the Arts and Sciences for our LinkedIn series. And this is our second series. The last one was on networking, and Jim Kelly gave that presentation. I'm Winstina Hughes. I graduated from Rutgers in 2007, Rutgers College in 2007, and the Edward J. Blaustein School of Planning and Public Policy in 2017. And so I'm here with you sharing my experience with internships. And so first, I'd like to thank Dana for setting us up. I really appreciate you for getting us ready. Now, let's delve in a bit. My background is 20 years of combined internship experience and also working in the field of planning and public policy. I have had a breadth of work experience. I started with a housing trust fund with the Center for Community Change in DC, and that internship was made possible through a professor of mine at the Blaustein School. We, met during office hours, and he shared an opportunity was coming, and so I thought, wow, this is something, that I'd really love to do. And so I applied to be an Everett College scholar, and I went to DC to work for the Center for Community Change. And so that was my first college internship. And so I encourage you to attend office hours and get to know your professors and share your interests with them. Following that, I have also been a fellow for President Obama's for his 2012 campaign. I took a year off, a semester off essentially from graduate school, Blaustein, in order to go to Philly and then New Jersey to work on his campaign. That's an example of the work that I've been doing as an extension of my education from college to graduate school. And so I've had 20 years of that internship and work in planning and policy. I have 15 years of open source work in community and core contribution. And I have 6 years working as a transportation planner at the Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration. And so I've been managing mentorship programs for State Highway for 2 offices. And this is experience that I'm bringing to this presentation with you today. I want you to know that I did reach out to our office that handles ethics because I really wanted to ensure that what I shared with you is in line with what I'm able to do as an employee for State Highway Administration. And so they said that since this isn't a paid speaking opportunity and this isn't a paid experience, that I can discuss my work with our internship programs at State Highway. So that said, because I have no financial benefit in this presentation, let's really delve right into this. I want to thank Gemini. That is an AI software by Google. Gemini was Bard, and it's been rebranded. Feel free to go ahead and drop in any comments that you have, any thoughts as well on this presentation. I'll follow through. I'm curious about how you use AI. I used it for this presentation talk description. And, in keeping with the essential, ethics of AI, I did want to be transparent to let you know that I did use that software and that my presentation is enhanced by, what it provided me, by that final product that it provided me. And because of that, I'm able to give you a better presentation. At the same time, with in keeping with ethics in education and business, I am, well-versed understanding the importance of really communicating the tools that we use. I gave a presentation last week with a college friend of mine when I was at Rutgers. We spoke in Phoenix, and we both did a joint presentation on leadership qualities, what's required of leaders in this current age and this current state of where we are, and the importance of using AI, but also having a human-centric approach. And so I'm trying to merge that into this presentation as well, to let you know that that's what's enhanced what I'm sharing with you. All right, let's delve right in for your application. when you're applying for an internship. Having managed internships for the Regional Intermodal Planning Division at State Highway, and now within our district, District 3 office, I can tell you that there are a few things that you should keep in mind. If you keep these things in mind, you're going to have a really strong application experience. You're going to really be able to conquer those key areas that are concerning, and make you, and in the process, you'll be able to feel more comfortable in the application experience. It's really important that you read the internship description. It's really, really, really important. Why? Because it gives you a sense, actually an understanding of what the agency or organization, what that business is looking for with that particular position. It really affords you the opportunity to be able to speak to any questions that come up during the interview process. So I really, really encourage you, once you have access to the internship description, spend some time reviewing it. Reviewing it will give you the opportunity to identify what are the requirements and the skill sets for this position. You want to know that, because any conversation that you have is going to be an opportunity. It's always an opportunity for you to share what your skill sets are. You definitely, definitely, definitely want every tool available for you to be able to not sell yourself, I don't like that word, but to communicate the value that you bring to the process and to the organization. You want to, be able to to bring yourself at least a step in the right direction, and knowing what they're looking for in that position will do that for you. You'd be surprised the number of, people that don't read the requirements for a job. And it's an experience and a skill, that you develop once you don't get a job offer or an internship offer, and you start to wonder why. You might get to the point where you realize, oh, I didn't answer that question. Oh, I didn't realize that's what they wanted from me. And once you do get that, you're steps closer. Also identify the deadline. The deadlines are key. If you're a procrastinator, hey, you wouldn't be the first. I might know a thing or two about that. But it's really important that you write down those deadlines. And if you push things to the last minute, at least that you have 2 days to go, rather than 2 days comes and you look at the description and you're like, oh my God, I don't have time. Like just look, make a note, know how close you are. It's really important. When you're looking for a position, an internship position, it's really important that you select the office. Know the office that you're selecting, right? It's not just that you're applying to the agency, but try to familiarize yourself with the office and the job description, the internship description. Look at the description and become familiar with the office and match your skill sets. You're developing them. You're new to the experience. This might be your first, second, or third year of college. Even if you're a fourth year student, I'm sure you're wondering, what are my strengths? It's okay. Just step back and just think a little bit about what you've learned in the short period of time, that you think. It can be a semester, it feels like forever. 4 years feels like a lifetime. So step back and think, what did I pull from this? How well did I do in that paper? What did I love about my classes? What does my teacher or my professor say is a strength? And identify that as a skill, right, that you developed or that you plan to develop. And so that'll help you identify what you offer to this office, right? You want to be able to show how you fit and what you offer. Match your skills. As you're drafting this application of yours, use spell check, proofread before send off. It's really, really important that you do this. If it's not a strength of yours, that's okay. Reach out to someone that you're close with, a friend. Maybe you've developed a good relationship with your teaching assistant. Whoever it is whoever you feel comfortable with, reach out to them and ask them, could you please review my application? Could you please give me your thoughts? Do you see any glaring mistakes? Do you see any edits that I should make? Rely on them to help you with that. It's really, really important to use everything in your sphere, and they can help you. That's why waiting a day or two before submitting the application, that's when that kind of timing can be a challenge. If you're not a procrastinator, or if you have a college roommate that, will look over your work during crunch time, or a best friend that's on campus, or even a best friend that is far away, like, send them an email, text them, be like, could you look at this for me? Also, what I would encourage you is to not see everyone that you work with as competition. So if you're in class with someone, and you're both applying for a position at different agencies, chances are you both have the ability to see and pull from what you're reading what sounds right, or rather what looks right and what doesn't. You'd be surprised how close you can become with the people that you are studying with and that you will work with. And it's really, really, really valuable, so that you can support each other and ask them, can you help me make this stronger? It's not always going to be the case that you have those types of relationships in school, but you definitely do have friends and you have a roommate. Hopefully you do. If you don't and you have a single room, much respect. I'm glad that you do. But reach out to someone. In terms of the interview prep, I need you to really, really consider the human element to this. It's really, really important that you research, not just research the agency, that's key, but I also want you to spend some time researching who's interviewing you. So you've submitted the application, you have no errors, no mistakes, you made a case for yourself when you were using, when you were writing the application. You asked Bard, Gemini, ChatGPT to help you beef up your application, and you did so ethically, right? You made sure that you spell checked, and you made sure that you didn't just pull all that content without customizing it, and making sure that it's your voice. You did all that. You did all that research and all that presentation, and it's time for the interview. Research, research, research who is going to interview you. Yes. Just like they're researching you, take it as an opportunity to research them. It helps to know who is going to be on the other side of the table or the screen. It's really, really, really important. Okay, so I recommend that you join LinkedIn if you don't have an account. I recommend that you spend some time looking online to see if you can find some details on who this person is. What do they care about? What are their values, right? What connection do you have or could have that you've never thought of? And see if you can develop a better understanding of the agency, of the company, and the person, so that when you meet, you're more comfortable about the experience. It's important that you become comfortable. That's what I want you to take from this, right? That the more preparation that you do, the ability that you have to be more comfortable with the internship process. So when that day comes and you're across the table, you're like, okay, all right, I've done everything I possibly could. I know who this person is. And I want to share with you that when you're reaching out to agencies, government agencies even, be prepared for the possibility of a panel. I had no clue that a panel interview would be my experience. One of my graduate internships was at New Jersey Transit, and I had a panel interview for the New York City Department of Transportation. I had a panel interview. Those were internships. So by the time I had my job interview, I knew what a panel interview felt like. Practice, 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 practice. 3 people in your life, buy them coffee, Take them to College Ave, EFES or FEs. I think that's the name of it. I have two friends that really love it. Go to the Noodle Gourmet. I don't know. Go to Barnes and Noble, spend some time, you know, in the Starbucks section, you know, convince your friends, listen, I need your help. Can I get 3 of you or your roommates? Can I get 3 of you to sit with me and help me do a panel interview? I need each of you next to each other. And I want you to come up with these different questions to ask me. And I'm gonna answer them. Have them start, each person ask you a question and go through the uncomfortableness of it, right? And tell them, I don't want you to interview me like we're friends. I want you to interview me like you could be my coworker or even my supervisor, maybe even human resources. I want you to ask me the hard questions and I want you to tell me how well I did. Yes, you're preparing for an internship, but guess what? There's going to come a time when you might find yourself interviewing for a job. And the more experience that you have preparing for a panel, the stronger you're going to be. I want you to write out the questions that you're asked by each person who's interviewing you. Write out the question, right? And be thoughtful about it. Once you're in that interview, share with them, I have a piece of paper and I'm going to take notes during this interview. And not only am I going to take notes, but it might take me a few times because I want to jot down answers as well. There's a human element to communicating what you're doing. And then so communicating it, it makes the other person or the other people comfortable with silence. So share with them, I'm going to write down the questions and I'm going to write down my answers. And there might be a slight pause, but I just want to get this right. Or I want to do a good job, right? And so write those questions out. Take time to write answers out that respond to the questions that you were asked. That's really, really important. Just like you wanted to read that job interview, you also want to write out the questions and take the time to understand what are they asking of you. You want to answer it, and you want to answer it not just accurately, but you want it, and not just comprehensively, but you want to string together thoughts that make sense. And in so doing, you're going to strengthen your application and strengthen how you appear to them. And you're going to set yourself apart from everyone else in this process, because I'm telling you, this isn't something people know about, and it's not something that they're prepared to do until they're looking for a job. I happen to have a friend in human resources, and she shared with me, these are ways that you prepare for a panel interview. And guess what? When I had my first one, I didn't have that experience. I did have it for my second, but I also had a friend who could share with me who did human resources work and is familiar with panel interviews, steps that would make me successful for my third panel interview. I wrote out my questions. I gave not only concrete answers, but not only were they cohesive, but they were also well thought out. And my responses were in line with what the interview was meant to pull from me. You want to do that. Answer all your questions. So that means you're going to have to time yourself. Timing is hard. I am not very good with timing. I run over on presentations, and I understand that about myself. So I want you to time yourself during your panel interview with friends. And I want you to also make sure that in the time allotted, you answer all the questions. This is where preparation comes in. If you're allotting yourself 15 minutes for this interview and they have 10 questions for you, not saying they will, but if they do, I want you to spend time practicing the amount of time it takes for you to write down the question, the amount of time it takes for you to write your answer to the question, and then I want you to time how long it takes you to respond to the question. And I want you to do that for the number of questions, so that by the end of those 15 minutes, you've answered all the questions that have been asked of you. That's really, 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 really important, because just in case someone else didn't do that well, just in case their time management skills aren't as great, you are going to step above or closer to being selected, because your time management skills and your comprehension allows you to answer all the questions in the right amount of time. In fact, in the amount of time that you were allotted. And that's a skill. That's a skill you want. Now, this is a bonus. We don't often think about it, but I want you to. This is a really, really powerful way of expressing to those who took the time to interview for an internship that you appreciate. You appreciate them. You appreciate their time. I want you to know that managing interns is work. I want you to consider that managing interns is actually additional work for a person at an agency. Just like it's an opportunity for you to learn in a new position and to get some real world experience, it's a way for someone to give back. And it's also a job responsibility. So consider, when you see those 3 people, or maybe just one because you were lucky to dodge that panel interview, consider that if this person supervises me for 3 months, this is 3 months out of their workday that they're going to spend with me. Share with them that you appreciated the time it took for them to interview you, so that they know that those 3 months means that they're with someone who values them, values their time, values their commitment, and even values the agency that they're coming to. Now, you might be so stressed. I've been in an interview preparing and, getting dressed, business casual, finding the right shirt and the jacket, because you have to look professional in an interview. I promise you, it took me a while to choose the shirt that I'm wearing. It's not a t-shirt. It's a button down with a jacket. I promise you, it took me some time to choose the shirt. I had like 3 and I had to iron them. I promise you, how you present yourself matters. It shows them that you care. At the same time, when you take the time to send them a note, they know not only do you care how you look, how you represent yourself, and will represent yourself for the agency, but you care about the work that that agency does and is committed to, and you care about the time that they've given for you to be in a role that they'll be managing. And so you're showing different ways that you care and you appreciate. You care about your appearance, you care about how you present yourself, you care enough to write down their name to remember. And guess what? You can even ask during the interview, I'm sorry, could you share your name with me? I just, I'm not the best with names, but I want to remember it. And then just take a moment and write down their names as you're answering the questions. You want to know what's even more powerful? Write down their names, and as you answer their questions, say, thank you for asking me that question, John. I thought really hard about it, and these are my thoughts on it. Don't use those words because you might need something that's true to you, but think about how I just phrased it there. Thank you for the question. Mention their name and answer the question. And if you write down their names throughout the interview, and you're able to personalize your responses, that also means that you're able to send a thank you card to them. And I'm telling you, it means something to receive just a little note. It does. So I recommend doing it. I have, bonus material that I want you to take with you. And the first is that if you don't have a network, don't worry. I know it feels like something to worry about, but I don't want you to worry about it. I want you to consider that we all start somewhere. Yes, there are people that have connections. Yes, there are folks that can call an aunt or an uncle, someone from church, someone from an organization that they were a part of when they were in high school and ask for help. It's true. But what if they deviate and go into a completely different industry that no one knows about? At some point, they have to develop a network. So if you're starting off and you're the first in your family, or you're the second, and your brother or sister is stressed and they're not positioned to help you, and you just don't know, how am I going to get this internship? Who am I going to ask? Like, I don't know anyone. I don't know who I can reach out to. I'm an immigrant in this country. I don't know. I really don't know anyone. Um, I'm an exchange student, or I'm just here as an international student. How am I going to do this? Attend your office hours. Your teachers are there, your professors are there during office hours to help you perform better in your classes. They're not there to chill, I promise you. They're not there to drink coffee. Um, they're not there to be surrounded by books and papers because it's fun, right? They're in office hours hoping that the students in their class stop by and ask them, could you help me understand this? Is there something I could have done better with my paper? Did I miss something during class? I was on my phone, I know. Could you help me figure this out? There's a human element to teaching as well. And when you stop by and you ask your teacher questions, it matters. And in the process of those conversations, you get to know a committed person, someone who is committed to their education, someone who is committed to learning and teaching, someone who's committed to their job because they've been in this office for an hour waiting for a student to stop by, someone who's committed to success, someone who is excellent at what they do, um, or aspire to excellence, right? Is an expert or aspires to be an expert, and someone who cares. And they see you, they know that you're working really hard, or they know that there are places that you can improve, and they want to help you. And, they might be in conversation with you for half a semester, and you come to them and you're like, you know what, I'm looking for something to do and I'm not sure, and I don't know who to reach out to, an organization. And they could say to you, you know what, this is what we're studying right now. I know this really good organization that you could learn a lot from. And that could be the point in the direction that will help you with your career. So I really want you to consider office hours. I also want to be honest with you. We don't click with everyone. We don't have good relationships with everyone. Not every professor gets us. That's okay. We don't connect with everyone. That's life. Find a professor that you connect with. It's quite possible it could be someone in another department. It's quite possible that you met them with your college roommate when you stopped by and they were asking a question and you were like, you know what, this person really, like, I don't know. I think this person really understands not only the subject, but they understand where I'm from, or they understand where I'm coming from. And I want to talk to them more. And so I'm going to stop by their office hours and ask them for guidance. Or maybe you spend some time, in your department and there's a teacher that is covering a subject that you really want to take next semester. So you stop by and you're like, wow, I mean, this is someone I could learn a lot from. Their office hours, that's also an opportunity as well. So don't worry, you don't click with everyone. You possibly can network with your professor, but there's another one. Take that opportunity. I also want you to attend campus panels and events. You're going to meet your alumni network at those. It's possible that an organization or a nonprofit is going to send someone that attended your school to your career fair. That's powerful because it means that that person is not only representing their agency, but their agency is like, whoa, we hired you. You know what you're doing. Go to your school. and help us recruit. Take the time to go to these campus panels, events, and career fairs, and take the opportunity to connect with those people that you meet, and see what opportunities come from that, what internship opportunities come from that. I also want to suggest to you a few things. I would like for you, when you attend a campus interview, to do something I always forget to do. Ask for a business card. I can't tell you the number of times I wish I'd asked for a business card and I didn't. I also, want to say to you that if you're particularly impressive as a human being, and as a professional in the making, definitely, as a motivated student, consider a business card. They're super cheap. Go to Vistaprint. Yes, it's not weird. You could have a digital business card. You could have a QR code on your phone that takes someone, to your LinkedIn profile. You could have, an app that has your information that you can share with the person that you meet, so that you're also prepared. But you could also pay $20 from Vistaprint to print out 250 business cards. I think that's going right now, somewhere along those lines. That has your name, that has your school, your graduation date. Hopefully your graduation date. It might not be. Took me a little bit longer to finish college and graduate school. So you might want to keep the dates off of it and just, or say, what's the word for it? Anticipated is a great word. Anticipated graduation. For me, I'm an immigrant. I was born in West Africa, in Freetown, Sierra Leone, and my family immigrated here. I was the first one to go through the educational system, and I was also the first one to start college. My mom came here for school, and she has a graduate degree. So she's pretty accomplished, and I knew it was something that I was going to do. It was expected, but I didn't have anyone who went through the full process: elementary school, middle school, high school, college, graduate school. I was the experiment, and everyone has learned from my experience. And I'll tell you that the cost of school made it a much longer experience for me. But along the way, I learned these lessons, and I'm sharing them with you. And I promise you, if you're just a little bit more motivated than the rest, get a business card from a company, write your name, your email address, your website link if you have one, your LinkedIn profile, your phone number, a professional email, your first name with your last name, your first initial with your last name, your first name with the last initial, something that's professional on the card, and hand it to the person that you meet at the career fair. You'd be surprised. Like, you're actually sending them to work back to their office with a little card that says who you are. So when you send that email, they're gonna know. They're gonna know who you are. I want you to, when you attend the career fair and you ask for business cards and emails, and if they don't have a business card, write down their email. I promise you, it's common to not have a business card. It costs your agency money to print them, or your company money, and you might not have it in your budget for a business card, or you might just have 3 business cards and 3 students stopped you. The 4th student comes and says, I want a business card, or could I have one? And you are like, I don't have any more. Don't take it personal. It could be out of their budget. That could have literally been the only 3 business cards that they had. Don't take it personal. Don't think they don't like you. Don't think they don't want to help you. Take the time and ask them, could you write your email address down for me? And when they do write that email address for you and their name, keep it. And I want you to email the person that you meet within 1 to 3 business days, because that's a fresh period of time where they'll remember you. And when you email them within 1 to 3 business days, I want you to express appreciation. Appreciation that they took a moment to talk to you. Thank you for taking time to speak with me and sharing Thank you for taking time to speak with me. Thank you for sharing information about your agency and this internship. I'm interested in applying for it, and I really hope that I'll have an opportunity to do that. And I'd love to work for your agency, and I hope that that opportunity is afforded to me. Keep it short and sweet. Don't use that verbatim. It might not be true to you and your style. And it might be a little too casual, probably not, but don't use that verbatim. Come up with something that's similar and send it to them. In the same email, ask them, make an inquiry, asking them if they could send you the link to their internship application form. I also want you to share your school, Rutgers, your major, that's important. If it's not relevant to the internship, share what your passion and your interest is. And share with them that you're interested in being an intern with their agency. I want you to consider keeping your email 4 to 6 sentences, short and very professional. I like to keep things brief. It's harder to make grammatical errors in a short email, much easier to make grammatical errors in a long email. It's much harder to make spelling mistakes in a short email, much easier to do that in a long email. Also, you can capture someone's attention with something short. I promise you, if there are 3 paragraphs, that person could be like, oh man, I can't read all that right now. I have a report to finish. Who is this? Where are they from? What are they asking for? I'm not saying that that's the case, but I kind of want to do a little role playing for you. I do work with really busy people, and I do know, and they're not busy for the fun of it either. Like, we do site visits, we're on the road, like we get emergencies, literal crashes, serious injuries. Our team members get hit by cars that are speeding. I might have a customer that's really concerned about a pothole and they want answers, like not answers now, yesterday. Why? Well, they had concerns and they had real concerns, and it went to the governor. And then the governor reached out to us and said, we need to understand, what's going on with these potholes. Like, when are they going to be fixed? When is it scheduled? And we have to share with them, this is our schedule for fixing it. This is when, my coworker has our contractor scheduled to go and make these improvements, right, to fix these potholes. So when you have all these different things coming at you, you really just have a few seconds to read through emails. And I promise you, if it's short, you're going to be able to get the response that you're hoping for. If it's longer, that person could be like, I'll get back to this. I remember this person and I thought that they were great. I'll get back to this. And 3 days later, another emergency came to them, or a report is due, and they don't have a moment to stop. So once you have their attention, keep it. Ask them to help you. Give them something actionable, something that's short, and when they have that moment, they'll do it. I promise you. I will say in the workforce, many of us understand that it's not the easiest, right? It's not the easiest thing. And they'll want to help you because you took the time to reach out to them. You gave them a business card. You let them know you appreciated that moment that they took to write down their email, and they remember what it's like to be in your place. I have an activity for you, and that activity is for you to stop, and I want you to breathe. Okay, so it's 1:43. I want us to stop and breathe for a moment. This might be corny to some, but I want you to understand, in the moment of this and the stress of it and the hope of this, I want you to breathe. So it's actually 1:44 right now. It took me a minute to say that. Let's do a moment of breathing. Okay, that's our 1 minute. Your work doesn't define you. Your job doesn't define you. Life has opportunities. Life can be difficult, but it also has beauty. There is the road that's less traveled. It's stressful now. I know, I've been there. You don't know what the future will bring. I know, I've been there. I want you to understand that maybe the internship you applied for, you weren't accepted, but there are others. Maybe you didn't get an internship in college. It's senior year, second semester. You need a job. You don't know what you're going to do. Stop and breathe. A lot of us have been there. Granted, I had internships in college, and you might be a second semester college student without one. You have a network though. You have roommates. You have friends. You can apply for a job. You can go for an advanced degree. I know it doesn't seem like what you want is within reach at the moment, but hang in there. It's coming. I want you to know that I studied housing in college, real estate in graduate school. I had an internship with the New York City Department of Transportation, and that changed my career path. It's possible that what you studied in college isn't the work that you'll do. Look for internships in other fields as well. Be open your heart to other experiences. Look for internships post-college. Look for a part-time job on campus post-college. Consider a postgraduate degree. You know what? Whilst you're in school right now, look for a joint degree. That'll give you 2 different fields that you can be getting a master's in right now, which makes you more marketable, opens up more opportunities and more doors for you. I thought housing was what was for me. I believe that housing is a basic human right. We need it. It's not a want, it's a need. It's shelter. It keeps us safe. But I'll tell you, when I was walking to the bus stop, taking the bus to Newark Penn Station, taking the NJ Transit train to Rutgers, getting off at the New Brunswick station, walking up, yes, walking up George Street to get to the Blaustein School, it hit me. I need transportation to do all of this. I can't do this without transit. I can't do this without roads that work. Yes, I need housing, but in order for me to be educated, in order for me to be able to find food to feed myself, in order for me to even get home to shelter, I need transportation. I need a way to get to where I have to go. And it was in those moments when I realized transportation is the work that I wanted to do. So that Housing Trust Fund internship, it was meaningful in that moment, but it wasn't the work that I was going to do. So consider that what you're studying now and the internships you thought you wanted may not be what you really need. Open your mind and your heart to something different. I was open to the New York City DOT. I met an amazing alumni who introduced me to her work. And because of her, I knew what New Jersey, not only what happened in New Jersey and New York, New Jersey Transit did, but I also was open to what happened, the work that happens in Maryland. And so I moved from New Jersey and I work in Maryland right now. And it was because she was so kind and introduced me to her work. Also, in graduate school, there's a really amazing lady I worked with, Christina, at Keep Middlesex Moving, and that was for a paper that I wrote. And just working with her was phenomenal. The social media work that she did really has inspired what I've continued to do to this day, transportation and really communicating our work. She definitely offered me inspiration then, and she offered me even more inspiration when she saw this post on LinkedIn and she expressed an interest in attending. You never know who you're going to meet. You're never going to know the impact that they have on you. Just be open. And I think that if you choose the road less traveled because the path you want isn't available to you, there's no telling what you'll accomplish. Are there any questions? We have about 10 minutes, and I am more than open to answering. Okay. I don't see any questions.
Hey, Christine, I have, sorry, Winston, I have one for you. What role do alumni play in networking for internships?
Alumni play a very important role. I'll share with you, and I see that we have 16 participants here, and I know that you might not have a chance to answer, but I want you to know that's a very great question, Marty. Alumni helped me with my work. When you attend panels, you get a chance to meet alumni who are doing the work. And it's a great opportunity for you to ask them questions. It's a great opportunity for you to network, to expand your network, because they understand and they went to your school. They know where you are and where you want to go, and they can guide you. Jim gave an excellent presentation on how to network. I recommend that you join our LinkedIn group and that you look for that presentation. You watch it. It's on YouTube, and you spend time, you watch it. And I recommend that you watch it. And from there, you'll get a sense of how to network with alumni, like Marty, like Jim, and also like me. Alumni also keep us involved in the WordPress. I said WordPress, I'm a WordPress. It's the other part of my life. In the Rutgers world. And so Marty has been a link for me to Rutgers. I worked with him when I graduated, and we did social media work together for the Rutgers Alumni Association. Fast forward, how many years now, Marty? It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's
easily.
been a while. Yeah, fast forward many years later, Marty reached out to me and mentioned, that there's more work to be done, and that the alumni, our alumni association, had a few projects in mind and work that they wanted to do with LinkedIn, and he was interested in knowing if I'd love to join them and do this work. And so, our alumni network keeps us tied, and it keeps us giving. So our alumni network is important. Any questions? Any other questions?
Winston, I did have one. You spoke earlier about about LinkedIn as being an important tool. So could you maybe expand on that just a little bit, in terms of how valuable and important that is in the process of seeking an internship?
In the process of seeking an internship, I would say that LinkedIn is one way for you to be able to learn more about the person who's interviewing you. It's an opportunity, for you to get a better sense of what their work experience is, what brought them to their position. Put on privacy mode on LinkedIn before you click. That's all I'm saying, because it affords you the chance to learn more about the person without them thinking that you're, that you're like trying to track down everything on them. I mean, they're probably doing that with you, but put on privacy mode. LinkedIn can help you with that. LinkedIn also helps you stay in touch with your professors. It helps you stay in touch with your friends, your roommates. Life happens. Folks move to other parts of the country, other parts of the world. You don't get to see them, and LinkedIn provides you that. LinkedIn also helps you remain tied to your alumni network. Marty is an example of how I've been able to stay connected with Rutgers, and that's a big deal, because when the work takes you out of state, And 15 years of open source contribution pulls you in different directions, and you have friends from school who think about you. It keeps you tied. It keeps you tied to your home base. I credit Rutgers with a lot of what I've been able to accomplish, and the relationships around me, the amazing men and women that have guided me, and the teachers and counselors that were instrumental. I want to give a shout out to Dean Boyd. She gave me a plaque that said she believed she could, so she did. She gave that to me when I was one of her students, and that motto remains. And Dean Boyd's actually on LinkedIn as well, so I get to see her. We haven't seen each other in decades or a decade. I don't want to say decades, but in a decade. I haven't seen her since 2005 or 6, and it's 2024, but I get to see updates from her on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn does a lot. Any more questions?
I don't see others in the chat or the Q&A box, so Winstina.
Okay, all right. So I see 10 students here. Still, I recommend connecting on LinkedIn with us. Let's see. I think my presentation, I still have it. You can find me on LinkedIn/in/Winstina. You can also find me on my website, winstinahughes.com. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask questions. I understand. Okay, Dana, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. I appreciate it.